Been a long time since I've done one of these. Let's just jump right into it. Dandaran. Everyone loves it. I finally got around to watching it. It was interesting. I'm not gonna lie. It was definitely one of those animes that, like, you gotta have a good sense of humor to really enjoy it. It does have some questionable things in it, but I do think it has that humor that kind of doesn't hit for everyone, but it definitely has the humor factor. It has the intrigue. It does have adventure from like step one all the way. Basically, if you haven't watched Dandadan, it pretty much involves two individuals who were not friends prior. They make friends and they find kind of a common ground in a way because they both have their things they believe in. One believes in ghosts and spirituals and yokais, and the other one believes in aliens, extraterrestrial, however you want to call them. And they kind of want to prove each other's wrong, where they're just like, ghosts don't exist, aliens don't exist. So they're kind of like, let's swap, and why don't I send you to a place to go see a ghost, and then the other one's like, okay, I'll send you to a place to go see an alien. Straight from the start, you get they're both interacting with an alien or with a yokai, which right away is very interesting. So definitely this kind of is refreshing amongst a lot of the other animes where it's not something common to see, the storyline in that. Obviously the whole like high school kids romance friendship kind of thing is repetitive. The behind the storyline, like how this all starts and stuff like that is interesting and new. Now, does the story structure hold out throughout the whole entire anime? I think it does. I think it pretty much does. It does keep consistent with what the storyline has to be. Do have to say the whole this might be some spoilers, so if you, I don't want spoilers or like details and stuff to ruin it for you, leave. Unfortunately, for me to go through this, I'm gonna have to reveal some stuff here and there, and you're just gonna have to like either indulge it or leave if you don't want to be ruined. That's your warning. You're still here? Cool. So I kind of got bored with the whole aliens wanting the banana organs. Like, that got old very quickly. They could have come out with like, oh, here's a new alien all of a sudden asking like, I want your brain or I want your heart. And like, it would have been a little bit more interesting to have like, oh, here's a new alien wanting a different part of this person's body. The whole like banana organ was funny in the beginning, but now that we keep on seeing it repetitive, I'm over it. And I get it's supposed to be because they're the same aliens, considering like there's a bunch of yokais, there should be a bunch of aliens. And then same thing I have to say about the yokai thing. I was expecting more yokais and we just kind of got Turbo Granny with her spirit bound person in, well, persons in the tunnel. Maybe in the further episodes, they're going to bring up like more different kinds of aliens because we do see a new alien towards the end. So there are more species, obviously, but they don't really touch on it too much. Like, I know we're focused on Turbo Granny and her situation and how we have to get this poor kid's nuts back, lack of a better way to say it. The focus is consistent, at least. We don't like veer off and never touch back on it and wondering like, is anybody going to care about this kid's stuff to get it back? So no, like the story does stay on point where it's like every episode does progress. It does follow the story, doesn't lose track, and we're still on top of trying to find this kid's stuff. I do kind of wish Okarun would progress a little bit more in his abilities. I know he's a shy kid and he does kind of get better. I just kind of wish it was a little bit faster in his progression so we could have seen that. I feel like Momo learned hers really faster and managed to control it to like a whole nother level, which I get, like most of the time it's the male characters that get it faster than the females. And in this turn, she does before he does. Maybe she has the upper hand because of her grandmother, but it's not like her grandmother was teaching her how to use abilities from day one. Kind of like she gets it from the beginning because of something her grandmother taught her, but it's not something she should have been able to master so well at this point, even though she's like, I still haven't mastered it. And it's like, girl, you can fool me because you look like you got it hands down, like you're fine. It's Okarun who's got to get much better at his ability. Towards the end of like episode 11 and 12, we do see him more with his abilities. Like, he can stay in the form longer, but he still doesn't have like all out. Like, apparently he can only go all out twice, so that hasn't progressed much. I know he's been working out more. We don't really see him like really go out like he did in the first one, the first time he like goes out, that big sumo wrestler alien type guy. So it's kind of like that leads me to want more of Okarun in his turbo mode. Now the art style portion of it, it's typical. There wasn't anything too crazy. I do like the whole Turbo Granny's crazy aesthetic in the beginning, like that was really creepy and funny as hell. Like that part of her is funny, the way that she looked, but also super creepy because imagine you running into her in a tunnel somewhere, like in the dark like that. I'd be scared. I think his design when he goes into that, I'm gonna call it the turbo mode, I don't even know if this actually was a real one, is kind of just him as Turbo Granny's power. But like when Okarun goes into his turbo mode, I feel like that whole design is like perfection. There's so many ways they could have gone with that in trying to incorporate Turbo Granny and the colorations that she has comparing to like how they would have transformed him. The way his personality changes when he goes into that form too. Love it. It's the perfection, like the best way to complete the character's transformation in kind of a minimalistic. He doesn't necessarily completely change into this like massive person, musculars and all this thing. Like he pretty much just goes from like himself to a little bit elongated, more Turbo Granny looking with a bit of an older skin color tone to him. His hair is white with the streaks, the red streaks in it, which is actually pretty cool. I wish I could do that to my hair. And like the whole mask being on, mind you, he doesn't have to have this mask on. It's something that is just designed to be over his mouth. He definitely doesn't need to have it on. It's not his actual mouth because we see him in other clips without it and he's just has his normal face. And I like the touch of having that like mask giant grin smile because it kind of just adds so much of that comedic touch to it, almost like a mischievous kind of thing going on because it looks like he's smiling, but meanwhile he's the most depressed person in the world. Now, when it comes to character development, which is extremely important when it comes to animes that can hold an audience and keep the story going, right? Both characters, Momo and Okarun, progress so much from the first episode to episode 12. They do progress in their personalities, they change. And when I say change, I don't mean like now they're completely different characters by the end. No. I mean like they progress because of the things that are happening to them. The fact that now they have abilities. They've been facing aliens and yokai. Not just that, like they've made friends with each other. They're having these emotions that they can't explain about each other. Especially Okarun, who, you know, he's developing in a sense where he was this loner kid and now he's getting friends and he has someone to talk to, especially about his interests. Because like, come on, how many of us love having people we can speak our interest about? Because we have friends and then we have friends that share our interest and they just kind of have the same excitement and topics that we can touch on when we're talking about those things, whether it's like music or sports or whatever, right? When you have those people you can talk to, the excitement builds in you and your face kind of like brightens up and your world is brighter in a way. And that's kind of what's going on with Okarun. He is definitely having a blast finally. He was bullied, still bullied. At least now he doesn't care so much because he has a friend. He has someone he can go to and talk to about his interest. And not just being an interest either. They're experiencing things and going through things together that no one else is going through, and they're the only two that can talk to each other about it, which in a way, like it adds so much to the story and how you enjoy watching it. It kind of makes you feel so happy for him and you're just kind of rooting him on. The way that Momo and Okarun interact with each other is so funny. They bicker, but they're at the same time like getting through to one another, but they're complementing each other's personalities in this essence. Like you're not like, oh my god, here they go, they're fighting again. More realistic is what I'm trying to get at, is where you see this friendship at, you know? Overall, from the characters, the storyline, the plot and all that, it is fun from the first episode. I was laughing so much throughout it. Like even when I got tired of the parts where I'm like, okay, here we go with the aliens again with the banana organs. But at the same time, there were things happening that was funny. There was like an awkward scene with like him being naked for a whole like 1 or 2 episodes, which was like a little bit too much. Like that could have been shortened and something, given him some clothes at some point, but it still made it funny with the things that were happening and he was still in the background trying to cover himself. So that was like entertaining in itself, even though it was like a part that I was like, okay, I'm over it. Let's move the story along. So even with those things happening, it's still entertaining and I loved it. Like I completely understand now like why everyone is like, where's the next part? Like I don't even think this is gonna, I think this is a continuation, right? Because it's 12 episodes. That last episode 12, if you watched it, you know what I mean. The way they left it off. So I think it's definitely going to be like 20 something episodes for season 1. I don't think it's just going to be like season 2 because season 1 is not really wrapped up yet. So I believe it's just a part 2 season 1. It's going to be coming out. better to label it that way than like season 2, where you think like season 1 is like done and recapped. Not really, not yet. We do have to give the honorable mention to her childhood friend. I forgot his name, but I think it's like, what, Gigi? Don't like his character. I know he's got a lot going on and this, that, another. He's the type of person I just don't really like. They're like overboard with themselves and they think they're so funny and adorable. Of course, everyone else around is like, he's so cool, he's so cute, oh my god, he's too much. And I'm like, I would not want to be around a person like that. I would actually be walking away. So I know he was a lot of people's favorites. I get it. He was a lot of people's favorite character, just not mine. But we need him. That's the sad part. We need his character because he's the one who's going to push Okarun. Whether it's for him to get stronger faster, get closer to Momo faster. I mean, he is having a lot of cringe moments right now because of Gigi, because of some things he's been doing, trying to get Momo's attention. It's like, ooh, bad timing, dude. Like, secondhand embarrassment. At the same time, it's like, I think he needs Gigi around in order to push him forward. But at the same time, we also need Gigi because we see that he has, oddly enough, the interest in the same things. So he's a potential new friend for Okarun, and I think he needs it. One more thing. Where is Okarun's parents? This kid is disappearing for days at a time, staying at Momo's house, and we haven't heard about his parents not one time in his living situation. It's like his parents don't care about him. If he's like really into this specific interest, his parents probably don't really give him much attention. Not because he's interested in this, but because of how he's so obsessed with it to the point of where he's desperate for a friend. Because imagine if you had family that actually was interested in the same thing as you, you wouldn't feel so alone in your own world and your interests, you know? Because his family may not share the same thing with him, he might be desperate for that connection with someone. Which is why when Momo's the first one to just defend him and kind of show some kind of interest with what he's into, it really shows like he was like, okay, this is my moment, I have to take advantage of it. If she really is interested or not, if she really wants to be my friend, my only chance. And I feel bad for him that that has to be his mentality, but like, go Okarun, I mean, take a chance. You know, you say she's like one of the most popular girls in the school and you're still trying to be friends with that one. It's not romantic at that point, by the way. It's not like he was going after her because he liked her and wanted to be closer because of that. Romanticism wasn't even part of the whole first half, really. There's hints, but it really isn't in there until like more towards the end that we start to see them having their moments, both realizing something is going on between them more. It's still very innocent and not the main focus. When I go back thinking of Dandaran, I'm gonna be very honest, I can't remember the soundtrack other than the opening. Like, to think of the music throughout it or the ending, I can't. It kind of says something there. Maybe it's just for me, it says something that like it's not very interesting. It's not something that really like calls my attention. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe that's what it's meant to do, is not to draw your attention necessarily away from story and the characters, but music does push it along most of the time. But I don't feel like anything has really interfered to the point where it distracts me, but that's all I think about from that scene. Just not memorable. I just don't remember it. I mean, obviously the opening is very catchy. It's very like, wants you to get up and kind of like shake yourself to it, right? I think the same can kind of be said about like backgrounds and things like that. Like, I wasn't too interested in what was happening around in the background. I was very focused on just the characters and what they're going through, what they're talking about, and what actions they're taking, rather than what's happening around them too much. Other than when they're fighting with someone, then it becomes like an interesting scenery. But when they're just like having day-to-day life, walking around, they're kind of just like in places, stagnant, where it's not like we're seeing too many different sceneries. I mean, there is a point where they're walking that had some different scenes in it, which was interesting. I kind of like that, where they were like walking and talking with each other. It kind of was after he farted. If you know what I'm talking about, that scene where he farts and then he's like walking away from Momo. That was a good, like, we're seeing different scenes in movement. So that was a good part to add into that anime, to give like a little bit of like difference to it, since we're always like either here or there. And then we just see Momo's house, which is very traditional Japanese house. It's also a temple shrine thing, so it's very simplistic and modest. Her grandmother isn't. Her grandmother is a hoot. I love her grandmother. Her grandmother is hilarious. And the fact that she's supposed to have this young look to her, she's got something going on, like a spell, or she has a promise with someone so she could stay young. She looks good for herself. I kind of want to know what happened, because from Momo's memories, she's more like dressed in traditional, the attire that she's in is more like to the temple attire, where it's like the white top, the red pants. Would like to know the story of like where she transition out of that to where she's now like sexy granny, and then her hair just sticking up instead of it being in a ponytail back the way that it originally was. And then Turbo Granny being stuck in the cat, making friends with her. I mean, they're like two old ladies in the background knocking on these kids, but they're still like guiding the kids along because obviously they're oblivious. They don't know what's going on right now. And they're kind of just there to like little ways to push them forward in this story. So I like the fact that they're not like extra characters and that Turbo Granny doesn't become this annoying thing that they have to like put in a jar and shove her in a closet because she's talking too much crap. But no, she's actually trying to help. She's actually like, I'm gonna help get this kid's nuts back so I can get my powers back. Voice acting in it. Usually I have a problem lately with the English dubs. I always feel like, I don't know who is the voice director, if that's what you call them. What is their problem that they be putting the wrong people to do the English dubs when it doesn't even match the Japanese dub? Like, you got an example to follow, but no, you want to go over here into La La Land and give somebody whose voice completely doesn't match this character. That's not in this case. I think everyone's English voice actor for this is spot on. From Granny, Turbo Granny, to Okaroon, even when he's in like his normal state and depressive state, when Momo is going through her screaming phases and things like that, it's not annoying. So I love Momo's voice actor too. And even the side characters and everyone, like even the girl with the pink hair, I don't remember her name. She's not a very memorable character. I should mention that because I know she's in a good part of it. I just don't care for her character. Not that I hate her character, I just don't care for her. She doesn't necessarily push the story forward like Gigi does when he shows up at the end. Within like those little moments at the end, he's already forcing the story forward, where this girl only played a small part to like push it forward. It wasn't like a big thing, honestly. She actually didn't do much of anything to help the story. But yeah, so I can't really remember her voice, but like pretty much everyone's voice fits them really well. So overall, this is a good anime. I recommend people to watch it. It's so fun. Now, if you really don't care for, I don't want to call it boy humor because I laughed at it and I'm not a boy. I guess it's more of like tomboyish humor if you're okay with that, because it is pretty much around like Okaroon's manly bits gone missing and then jokes perceived about those parts. So if you really don't care for those kinds of things, it's gonna drive you cuckoo really badly. Probably don't watch it. I always recommend you take a peek at it. Like, don't judge an anime until you watch it. I thought I wasn't gonna like it. I thought I was gonna just enjoy it, because I think maybe whenever everyone else puts too much hype on it, I'm like, it may not be my cup of tea then. Too many people like it. It might not be mine then. I like it. I loved it. I actually was very shocked at how much I was laughing throughout it, just because of like stuff that you would think like this is a typical joke. But I guess it just hit me in the right like funny bones because I was laughing a lot throughout it. So I do recommend people to watch it. It's a good one. I don't know if it's on any other kind of platforms. The only ones I really know are Crunchyroll and Netflix. Those are the two that I know it's on. If you have either of those, go check it out. And let me know what parts you liked. Did you have like specific scenes you liked, characters? And for those who read the manga, does the anime adaptation follow the manga pretty accurately, or would you say like it's a little bit more free-spirited where like it follows it, but there's some things that are changed around, even if it's like a timeline thing, character design thing? I kind of want to know. I haven't heard anyone really talk about that, really. If you have any of those details, please do let me know in the comments. I think we all want to know that answer too. I can tell that you've been through some